We ended our last video having made one side of our box. And so if I rotate our view, I can see that. And now we're going to start the next side of our box. So we're going to start a new sketch for that. And I'm going to want the next side to intersect this side, to line up right here at the edge. So I'm going to do my sketch directly there on the edge. So for the sketch plane, instead of using one of these that's built in, I'm actually going to click on the part that I just extruded and the sort of more inset part, right? So I clicked on this plane, not on that plane. Although it really could work either way. And then the first thing I'm going to do is I want to use or project some of the lines that are already here from this extrude, because I'm going to want the side that I'm making to kind of line up with, so sort of these joints. These parts are called the finger joints. And so when I make this other side here, I'm going to want it to go into the holes that I've basically created right there. And so when I click on a line from the current extruded part that I have, I can eventually then use or project those lines with this command to put them into the sketch I'm currently making. So I'm going to click on these zigzag lines. So I want to go down and then over and then down and then over and down and so on. And it doesn't matter exactly which edge I click on, as long as when I look at it from a front perspective, I'm getting this sort of zigzag all the way down. And you can see it helps to sort of zoom in to make sure you're clicking on the right part, and then zoom out again to move around as you work your way down. So I have all of those selected. I click on this command, the project or use. And then after that, I'm going to hide the part that I already have, because I want to be able to see what's in my sketch, and having the part there just makes it harder to kind of see the lines, right? So I can see these are all of the lines that I projected. So that's going to make up one edge of the next side that I draw. For the next edge, I'm going to have to draw the lines just like I did in the first video. So I'm going to be, again, careful about what constraints kind of pop up automatically, just to make it easier on myself so I don't have to go back and add them in later. I just make sure it snaps into place the way that I want it from the beginning. So I draw that zigzag on the bottom, and then along the top I'm just going to draw a straight line, but I want it to end in line with over here. So a horizontal line, and it's lined up vertically with that one. And just like, well, first I'm going to add in this dimension. I'm going to make this side 4 inches long. And then just like I did with the previous side, I want all of these lines to be equal to each other. So it'll just be evenly distributed throughout the side of the box. And then I'm going to add a construction line lined up with the midpoint here and going vertically up. And I'm going to use that construction line to mirror, use this line, all of this zigzag that I have on one side. It'll pop over there on the other side so I don't have to draw it again. And that's actually it for this sketch. You can see, because I was using things from this part that already exists and then mirroring and making everything equal, you don't need many, you only need this one dimension really. And now my sketch is fully defined. I can select that sketch and extrude it and change the depth to 0.2 inches. And we can see that extrude showing up right there. It's going to default to adding to the existing part, so that would make both sides of the box one part. But the reality is, when you laser cut this, you're going to cut each side separately and assemble it afterwards, because you're only cutting one flat piece at a time. So to match that reality, I'm going to make this a new part. And now I have the second side of my box. So the third and the fourth sides of the box are just going to be the same image as what I've already drawn. So I actually am not going to have to redraw it. I'm going to just keep using that project command to save myself a lot of effort, right? So let's call this side that I did at first the left side, and I'm actually going to update the name here. Let's say this is the left side sketch and the left side extrude. And then that makes this one the front side sketch, or just the front sketch. And the front extrude. Right? And so if I've already done the left, the next thing I'm going to do is going to be the right over here. So again, just a new sketch. I want it to line up with this part, so I'm going to sketch it on that plane. But then instead of having to draw anything, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the left side sketch, and if I click it over here, it selects everything. And then I do the project command, and you can see the entire sketch, all of it, has shown up over here. So just took the exact thing I had drawn there and just moved it forward to this plane. I'm going to hide these parts for now so I can just look at the sketch. And I don't want this flower design on this wall. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I'm just going to choose not to do it. So I clicked and dragged to select all of it. I didn't want to select this line in the middle, so I clicked on it to deselect. So now I've got just the flowers selected. I'm going to press delete on my keyboard. And now I have a sketch just for the outline of this side of my box. I'll click check on that. I'll select that sketch and extrude it. I can show these parts again so I have the context for how it's fitting together. The depth will be, again, 0.2, and I want it to be a new part. And check. So now you can see I have part 1, part 2, part 3. They're each different colors, which is what indicates that they're different parts. I can rename these sketches as well. So this is the right side sketch and the right side extrude. And actually, while I'm at it, just like I can rename my sketches and extrudes over here, I can rename my parts down here, and that will make it easier to keep track of things. So I'm going to do that as well. Left side, front, and right. So now I need to make the back of my box, which again is just going to be projecting what I've already drawn on the front. So my sketch will be on this face right here. So it lines up with the sides. And then I'll click on my front sketch. I will use it or project it. And that is all I need to do. I take that sketch, extrude it, I change my depth, and I rename these as well. So I have 4 sides of my box. I'm assuming I'm going to leave the top open, that it's just a box you can reach right into, but I do still need the bottom of my box. So looking from that perspective at the bottom, we'll make one last sketch. It's going to be on this plane right here, so we'll sort of start at the bottom of each of those sides. And then this is going to involve a lot of clicking, right? I don't need to draw any new lines from scratch, but I do need to basically take this whole outline and select it and then use this project thing one more time. So for example, I'm going to click on this outside edge and this edge, go around the corner, and then just like before, I'm creating sort of a zigzag pattern where the front is going to sit in the sort of spots that are created like here and there and there. So I'm going to be going like down and over and up and over again. And just continuing to do that, selecting all of these lines, again, zooming in, zooming out to make it easier to click on exactly what I intend to click on. And another thing, sometimes when you're doing this, it can be easy to sort of misclick and accidentally deselect something. And so especially if this is taking you a while to do, you might want to pause, like at any point while I'm making my progress, I can project what I have. Right? And if I hide some of these sides, you can see those lines have shown up, the ones that I already had selected. And that way I don't risk losing my work. Right, and from there, I'm just going to continue clicking, selecting each of the lines sort of all the way around the box until I have the entire bottom of the box outlined. But it is going to be just a lot of clicking to make that happen. Now I believe I've gone all the way around the box, and to check, I'm just going to hide all of the existing parts so that I can see clearly what lines are in this sketch. It looks good, it's full outline, and you know that I've made a closed shape because it turned gray on the inside. If I'd missed a line and it was an open shape, it wouldn't gray out in the middle. So I'll click check on that, take that sketch, extrude it. Again, I'm going to want my extrude to be 0.2 inches. So we can see that extrude showing up there. Again, a new part, so each of the 5 sides I've made are each their own part. Part 5 down here, but I'm going to rename it to bottom. I'm going to unhide the other parts so that I can see my entire box. And I can sort of rotate it around, move it on the screen, see that everything is lined up the way I intend for it to be. And of course, go rename these sketches as well. And now I am done. I have my complete box, and if yours is complete as well, make sure that your Onshape document is shared with me and you are done with this tutorial.